boys and girls. It's Miss Lisa, the art teacher. Hi, how are you? Hey, Happy New Year. This is a new year. It's 2021. Happy New Year! Whee! Well, I hope this new year is a lot better than last year. I'm sure it will be. I have high hopes. So, back to school. Everybody's done with the holidays and we're all back. Well, actually, there's more holidays coming. We have the Chinese New Year we celebrated. I think that's passed. Not quite sure. We've got Martin Luther King's birthday coming up. But in the meantime, I heard from a little bird that you guys are learning about your shapes. So I am going to be sending you this little worksheet. It's all about your shapes because we're going to do an art project where you're going to need to draw your shapes. So we're going to practice first. We're going to practice making our circles, our squares, our triangles, and our rectangles. So if you guys are ready to start practicing, then I say grab a crayon, grab a marker, grab whatever it is you want to practice with, and come on down to my table of art with Miss Lisa. Come on down. Okay, so here's my worksheet, and it says shapes. S-H-A-P-E-S. Shapes. And we're going to practice drawing our shapes. And I'm going to grab a marker because I have a nice marker right here. What is this, a green marker? We're going to start with our circles. And what I want you to do is just start tracing around the dotted lines to practice making your circle. There's my first circle. It's very small. I'm going to go on to my second circle. Gets a little bit bigger. And I'm going to continue on to my third circle. And I want you to take your time and just follow the lines and notice how your hand and your wrist and your fingers are going around for your circle. Our next shape that we are going to trace is going to be the square. And just like the circles, we're going to start off with a little teeny tiny square and we're going to work our way up all the way to the big giant square. If you notice, a square has 4 even sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. And a circle is just one line. A circle is round. It has no end. That's how long I want to be your friend. But a square has 4 even sides. Then we have a triangle. How many sides does the triangle have? How about we count together? 1, 2, 3. 3 sides to our triangle. 1, 2, 3. 3 sides to the triangle. Let's try that again. My triangles are starting to get bigger. 3 sides to our triangle. Very good. The next shape we're doing, it's not a square, but it looks very similar. The difference between this shape and the square, they both have 4 sides. The square has 4 sides that are all the same size. Just like if you lined up with all your friends, you're probably all the same size. But if you lined up with 2 friends and 2 teachers, 2 of you are going to be taller and 2 of you are going to be shorter. That's what this shape is all about, a rectangle. Do you see the rectangle? 2 sides are shorter, like 2 of the students, and 2 sides are longer, like 2 of the teachers. So I want you to take your time and enjoy making your shapes, because when you're done with this, we're going to move on to some magic paper. Let me get my magic paper out so I could share with you. You're each going to get 2 sheets of this magic paper. And Miss Lisa keeps saying it's magic, and you must be saying to yourself, what is she talking about? What's so magical about the paper? Well, what we're going to do today is we are going to, hold on, let me get this out of the way. We are going to create magic paper with textures. And we're going to create these textures by painting on them with our watercolors. Now there's two kinds of watercolors. We have the watercolors that are in the little palettes here. And there's also liquid watercolors. I have both kinds. Let me show you my liquid watercolors. These are really fancy. These are liquid watercolors. But I'm going to use the kind that I believe you all might have at home. The ones with the palette, and there's several colors. We have our primaries and secondaries, and black and brown. So what you're going to need is a little cup of water, because we're going to need to paint, and you're going to need a paintbrush. So I have my paintbrush here. I'm wetting it up, and I'm going to start off with the color purple. And I want to create this paper to become magical. But watch what I'm going to do as I paint. You tell me if you notice anything special about this paper as I paint it. I'm painting it with purple, but I'm going to use all different colors. I'm not going to just paint purple. I'm going to switch my colors up. I think my next color is going to be blue. I love blue and purple together. Don't you? And here's my blue color. And as I'm painting, I'm noticing, oh my goodness, there's all kinds of textures popping through. How is that happening? This paper's got texture in it when I put the paint on it. It's magic. Oh my goodness. Can you see the texture in this paper when I painted? Wow. This is going to be great for what we're going to make next. We're going to use these textures to create a big truck. But we're going to need to know our shapes, so I hope you took your time and practiced your shapes. Next, after that, we're going to paint our paper just like I'm doing now. And you're all going to have different magic paper. Hopefully you all have a different one. If there's some that are the same, we're going to share the texture, so not to worry. Look at how nice. I'm going to put it up close to the camera so you can see. You might not be able to notice it right now. So I'll bring it closer for you to see. What color should I use? Yellow. I didn't use any yellow. Put some yellow here. This looks like burlap. That's the kind of texture this is creating. Really neat looking. And blue being the last color. Okay, so let me put my paints away. Everybody's going to get 2 sheets of this magic paper to paint. And you're going to need to leave it on the side. Can you see the texture in the paper? So we're going to put this aside and let it dry. And then you're going to go paint your second page. I have 2 that are already dry. So I'm going to pull them out. Can you see the textures in this paper? It almost looks like scallops. Little scallops going over and over. It's really, really cool. And this one kind of looks like cracked leather or cracked ice. Really neat. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create a truck. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to make a dump truck. So if we look at a dump truck, what kind of shapes do we see in this dump truck? How about if we look at his wheels? He's got some round wheels over here. So we have a big round circle and we have a small circle. So that's 2 circles we'll have to make for each one of the wheels, because it's a big circle and a little circle. Just like our practice sheet, we made big circles and little circles. other shapes do we see? Remember when we put the two students and the two teachers together? Two short ones and two long ones created a rectangle. This is one big rectangle for the dumping part, and then you have smaller rectangles within the dumping part of the truck. How about a square? Do we see a square anywhere? Well, this could become a square. We can make this into a square. It doesn't have to be exactly like that. And the triangles? Well, I don't see any triangles on this dump truck. I just see circles, rectangles, square. Maybe we can make a triangle in this little window over here. So when our paper's dry, which my paper is dry right now, we're going to take our dry paper and we want to cut it down into smaller, more manageable pieces. So let's start with a rectangle right here. Make 3 rectangles, and then I'll cut those rectangles in half and in half again, and I'll leave one long because we might want one long piece. And I'm going to do the same thing with this other piece. I'm going to cut them down so they're much easier to manage. And we're going to share our papers with each other because there's so many different textures that we could share the magic paper, okay? And it'll make the truck all the more interesting and fun. So we're doing shapes today, and we're adding textures, magic textures with the magic paper, okay? So I'm going to need a piece of colored construction paper. So let me go get that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have this dark blue construction paper I'm going to use as my background. So let's pull out our picture of our truck again so we can use it as a guide. So what do you say we start with the big back part of this truck? So that shape is a rectangle. So take out your crayons, your pencils, whatever it is that you're going to use to draw your shapes. But we're going to draw the shapes on the back of our paper. Okay? So let's make a rectangle. Remember, we have 2 long lines and 2 short lines to create our rectangle. Alrighty? So let's cut that out. That'll be the first part of our truck. And now we have more paper that we could use in the construction of our truck. So don't throw any of this paper away. You never know what you can use it for. Alright, so here's my dump truck. So this is the first part of my dump truck right here. Next, I'm going to need a long skinny piece, which is going to be the bottom of my truck. And that looks a little bit like a rectangle too, but a long skinny rectangle. So let's turn our paper upside down and we'll draw a long skinny rectangle right on the bottom of the paper. See how I did that? And that'll be the base of our truck. And we'll put that in its place. And the dumpster part is going right here. Now we need to attach what? Our wheels. So we're going to need to make 4 big circles and 4 little circles. So let's start with our big circles first. And then let's cut them out. Oops, I need 3. Sorry. I need 3 circles. 3 big circles. And then we'll cut them out. And as I cut them out, I'm going to place them on the truck where they belong. Look how neat that's starting to look. Starting to look like a truck, doesn't it? And all these great textures from this magic paper are making it look so cool. So we got the 2 in the back. got the one up in the front. Now up in the front, we're going to need to make a square. And it's going to fit about this size here. So I actually have a piece that might fit pretty well. How about if I don't even have to cut that one? How's that look? That's perfect. I don't even have to cut that piece. And next, we need to put the smaller circles inside the big ones. So I saved this piece that I cut out already. So it might be easier for me to draw a smaller circle, because now I know it has to be smaller than that size. So I'm going to make a small circle within that circle. See how Miss Lisa did that? This is the size of the one we already cut. So that one's definitely smaller. So I'm going to cut that little small circle out. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use it to trace two more small circles, because that's going to go right in there. So here's my circle. I'm going to use it so I could trace it to get like the same size circle for the other wheels. See? So this one goes right inside that wheel. This one goes in that one. And this one goes in that one. So we have our three big wheels and our three small circles. Okay, how about these rectangles that are inside the dump truck? We need to make them. So I say we draw our rectangles. 1, 2, 3. I say 4 or 5 would be enough. 4, 5. 5 rectangles. And they'd fit right in the dump truck. So I'm going to go right across and cut all these out. And you take your time. Nobody's rushing you. One's going to go there. One's going to go there. One's going to go there. And one's going to go there. Wow, how cool does that look? Okay, now, remember we talked about this window. What shape is this window? Well, it looks like it's a combination of a rectangle and half of a triangle. So let's make a rectangle first. How about we use this pretty green paper right here? All right, so we got to make a triangle that's going to fit up here. So let's draw our triangle. I'm sorry, rectangle for the window. I'm going to draw my first part of the window. And I'm going to place that part there. And then the other part look kind of like a triangle. So let's make a triangle out of that same paper. See how Miss Lisa did that? Made a triangle. I'm going to cut out the triangle. And I'm going to place it on top of the window so that they kind of look like one. So how'd that look? Did it turn out looking like a window? I think it did. Here's my dump truck. Let's put him back in place here. Here's the dump truck. We have our circles, big circles, small circles. We have a long, thin rectangle. We have another rectangle with 2 long sides and 2 small sides. 4 rectangles. A triangle attached to a rectangle. And our square. This isn't really a square. Let's make this a proper square because it's not 4 equal sides. So I'm going to correct mine. That's better. Here's my square. And no, it's not perfect, but that's okay. We're just learning. And my triangle combined with my rectangle to make the window. Now what do you think we need to do? We need to glue this all down. So let's start by gluing the window pieces together. Let's put this rectangle together first, and then we'll add the triangle. Cool. Then I'm going to glue this right to the paper. This is where you're going to sit in the truck and wave hello to everybody and blow the horn. Toot toot! How about we glue down these rectangles now to the dumping part. I don't know if you could see it, but these textures on this paper are really neat. I like it. I'm liking it. So first, you're going to have to paint these, and you're going to let them dry. So maybe you should do that first and then practice your shapes. And then by the time you're done practicing your shapes, your paper will be dry. Here's my truck. Dumped the dumpy part. Oopsie. Let me move these down. Let's put this going right across. Oops. Here we go. Now we'll put our big wheels down first. 1 and 2, and then we'll put the other one in the front. That's all by himself. He goes in the front. And then we'll put our little circles down. A little circle there, a little circle here. This is so colorful. I love color. This is one supersonic dump truck. What do you think? A dump truck and all his shapes. What can we put in the dump truck? How about we put some shapes coming out of the dump truck? Well, that's something you can do if you decide. We have all this paper left, so use your imagination and add to your truck. But don't forget, always put your name on your paper, because you don't want anybody else to mistake it for theirs. So let me bring you up. And that's that. Here's your textured, shaped truck. It's a textured truck and all its shapes. Squares, circles, triangles, rectangles, and lots of texture. So I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed doing it with you. And until we meet again, you have a great day and a great week. And Miss Lisa will be back again next week with a new project. Ciao for now from my table of art. Be good, kids, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.